Well, good morning, class. So let's go over a few things. Today, we're on pink paper. All right, so here's our first widget that we drew. Okay, that way. That's how it was determined. Okay, that was a really simple one. It was just basic on drawing a widget, and then we drew basic dimensions on it. And then we had this widget, which was a machined insert for a bearing. So we had a bunch of tolerances that we had to stay within specs. Okay, and so now we're ready for our next drawing, which will actually be our last drawing. Well, not today. So today we're going to draw it, and then we're going to put in our welding specifications. Okay, so what we have here is a support. Okay, now obviously this would be metal and all that, but what it is we have two triangles as a fixture support. This is to help hold things together when we frame things up. So what we need is we have to have two welds in here and in here. Okay, so we're just going to do two really basic weld call outs, but we still have to dimension it. So that's why we're going to break it up into three projects. So today we're going to draw it. On Tuesday, we will dimension it, and on Thursday, we will put the welding and machining tolerances on it, because this surface is important, because that surface is the fixture part or holds the framing that we have to build. Okay, so that's why there's an offset. So not only are we going to have welding call-outs, we're also going to have some machining call-outs to talk about this part. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and measure this out. So I'm going to grab my Sharpie so that way I put it right on the paper or the board, unlike I did on the last one. Okay, so first thing we need to do is we need to know how tall it is. Okay, and they both come to this height, which is right here. Okay, I know the wood's a little off just because, building these things. So let's go ahead and measure that out. And look at that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 units. Okay? 12 units from here to here. Okay? Now from here to here. Okay? 9 units. So, whoops. I'm going to try to keep all my writing in the same direction. So this one, I'm going to go, I know this isn't how you draft, but I'm just sketching on here. 9 units. Okay? So we know from this point to this point is 9 units. That's crude. Okay? So we know how tall, we know how long. Okay? Now we can do this by angle or by this measurement here. So let's just do that measurement there. What is 2.5? So 2.5. I'm just going to do that. Okay? Now how thick is it? 2 units. Okay? So that would be, this is 2 units. Okay? Okay, so we have some issues here. I'm thinking it's working. Alright, sorry. That's what isn't one issue of this. Alright, 32 minus 18, 14. Okay, so let's go back a little bit on what we're doing here. So let me make sure I got both ends going. Okay, they're both going. All right, so what we need to do is we know the measurements of this. This is 9. Okay, this is 8.5. We just we add that up. That's 17.5, but we just rounded up. So I get 18. The paper is 32 units. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 18 from 32, and I get 14. Okay. So now that means I have 14 units of space. So if I crammed it all together, I would have 14 units left over. So now we want to divide that out. So we want to have some border and we want to have space in the middle. So let's do our borders. Now if we do 7 and 7, our parts would be really close together. So if we do 2 and 2, that leaves us 12 in the middle. Okay, but if we do, say, 4 and 4, that's 8, right? And then we have what's left. I'm thinking we do 3 and 3. That's 6. That makes 8 in the middle. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to go 3 units in. Or, you know what, I'm going to just keep it with 2 units. So we're going to go in 2 units, 2 unit border. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that in. So I'm getting my line here. There. There. Over to this side. There. There. Same thing from here. There. And there. And then across the top. Okay, now I'll go ahead and draw my lines. Now I'm going to draw them light, okay? So that way, if there's any problems, it doesn't take much to erase it. Now I'm drawing it heavier than you should, so that way it's visible, okay? So make sure that yours is nice and light. We're just doing a basic line, okay? Now this box, okay, and then down here. And then over here. Okay, so now I have my box. Now I can build my part. Now, when I go to draw this part, where did I set it? Oh, there it is. We're going to make this our main part, okay? Now, we don't want to draw this way because then we don't see that back piece at all. So we want to definitely do this piece, okay? So we could do it here and then come this way, okay? But this is the most important, is this piece. So we want to make sure that we have some room for our dimensioning. So, okay, so if this is 9, I want to just cheat. Okay, and I draw this one over here. I want to move over, okay? So I'm going to give myself some room to dimension on this side, okay? So I'm going, that looks like about 2 units as well, and that makes it 4 on each side. So let's go ahead and draw this box out. Now I'm going to go in the middle of the paper, not at the bottom, not at the top, right in the middle, to draw this box. All right, so the first thing I'm going to draw is this baseline, which is 9 units. So I'm going to get my triangle. So I make sure I get my 90 degrees, right? So I'm going to just fold that one in there. And that way I'm going off those lines I drew. So I'm going to draw a light line right here for my base. Okay, now we know it's 9 units. I'm going to go over about 2 to start the drawing so I have room to dimension. So there's 2 right there. Okay, and then we go from there 9 units. So there's 9. Okay. So now we got our 9 unit base. Now we need the height, which is 12 units up. Okay. So I know I went in 2 there. I'm going to double check, make sure that's the same 2. So I'm a little proud of that line. Sorry. And I'm going to come up here, go that way. And now I'm going to draw, I can even make that a 90 off the part, right? So line up the bottom. And, whoops, got a little dent in the line. Okay, a light line there. So there's our, are we really 12 units up? Nope. There's 12 units. I got my line there. Okay, and I got my 9 here. Draw that one in dark. Okay, so there's my line of the fixture. Okay, now we have that. We need to go ahead and connect this to this, but it's not a straight. It has a bit on the top, right? Which is 2.5. I'll get in the camera. There. Let me get it the right way. So we need to go over 2.5. So what we're going to do is I'm at 12 here, right? And I'm going to move over and make another mark, so that way I kind of keep the same direction. Another mark. Okay? And then I need to go over 2.5. So now I kind of see my line. There's 2, there's 2.5. Okay? And I draw my 2.5. There we go. Now, if I want, I can take my 30-60 triangle, right? I can lay that down. Because I know it's 30 degrees, and match that up. And there we go. So there is our first view. That works about pretty good. So now we got to draw this in there, okay? And we know it's over 1.5 units, okay? So we're gonna go. There's 1, there's a half, and because I have a lot of 1.5s, I'm gonna make a mark on my paper for 1.5. So that way, my 1.5s will always be the same. Same with 2.5. I have one that's 2.5 as well. So I'm going to make a mark there for that one. 2.5 units. So that way it's easy to see them quickly and makes it quick to my work, and it's always the same. I'm not guessing, oh, is that half, is that half? Okay, so it's 1.5 in. So I'm going to go right there, line that up with my object line, make a light mark, and come up here, make a light mark. Now, how wide was it? Well, it's 2 inches wide, so or 2 units. So let's go ahead and make that mark too. So that comes all the way out here, and then that comes down here, and we're going to go here. I'll make sure I got that the right 2. Yep. Okay, so now let's go ahead and draw that in. So I got those lined up. Draw a nice thick line. Now when I go to draw this line, I'm going to stop here. I'm not going to go all the way up here because it's hard to tell on this, but when I cut it, it overhang. And then I sanded it down. So we're going to match that up. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and line those 2 dots up. Okay? And I'm going to go up until the object line and stop. Okay? So there we go. There's our face. Now, see, this is why we couldn't get away with just one view, because they're like, well, is that a slot? Or is it protruding? We can't tell in that picture. That's why when we go here and we do this one, then we'll know, oh, it's not a slot, it's protruding, because we'll see it come out. Okay? So the same thing, we're going to come in 2 units from this side. I'm going to move the camera over just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to line up with that line down here because it's going to be the same line. That's the bottom. There's 2 units. Okay, and we're going to come up here. I'm going to draw that real quick. 2 units. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and finish this construction line nice and light. Okay, You can see I'm just doing it real light. You can see how I'm holding the pencil. It's just doing the work itself. I'm not pushing it down. Okay? Now I see this. This is going to be my line. So I'm going to go ahead and take that line too and transfer it over to the other side of the paper. Okay? And I'm going to double check my measurement because remember it's supposed to be 12. Okay? And it's a little short in my... There. That's why we draw them light. There we go. So I'm going to erase that real quick. Okay, so now I have that. That's my mark. That's 12. I know that this sits like this. This is a solid line. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw that line. Okay? And that way I have it. And that way I can base all the rest of my drawings off of that hard line there too. So I'm going to draw it kind of heavy. I'm going to make sure it's 12 units. There we go. I'm going to go over it a couple times. There we go. Nice and bold line there. And I'm going to go over from this line over, which is 8.5. Let me get in the right direction. So we know it's 8.5. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So here's 9. There's 8. So 8.5. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and draw that line in. There we go. Okay. So now we have that. So we have to do a couple things. We need this thickness, which we already know is 2. So we're just going to go over 2 units. And I'm going to draw a little tick or a little mark just to help me on my construction line and come up here. Same thing. And then I'm going to go ahead and mark those 2 dots. Okay. There we go. And then I can go ahead and close that box up here. There we go. So there's that part that comes towards us. And now we need this. Well, we know that one. That goes from here to here. That's an easy one. So all we're going to do is we're going to go from that point. And we're going to I'm just holding this, I can pivot. And that's all I'm doing is I'm holding it there and pivoting it until it matches up to there. And I'm looking for just a tiny little bit of the line poking through, about the size of the pencil edge, so that way when I draw them, they match up with the tip of the pencil edge. Okay, I'll go ahead and make that mark. Okay, and then I'm going to come back and do it a little thicker. My ruler is starting to wear out. So I'm going to come down here where the edge is a little fresher. And I'm going to go ahead and make that nice dark line. Okay, so there's our fixture. Pretty easy drawings. It is a little weird with this piece there, which will make it kind of fun to do. Okay, when it comes to that, what would happen is this would get a mark because it would look a little differently, but we'll show that when we get to the next spot. But I want just a really basic drawings for us right now. So I don't want to get into too much of this hair, because what would really happen is that mark would come here. And there would be a line there. So let's go ahead and put that, because what it is that line is referencing this. I know it's hard to see this line where it cuts back. So that little line is this line right there. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in. So all I did was I just taking it off of that mark, coming over here, and putting it in. So now we have an accurate drawing ready to be dimensioned on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, we were going to do all the proper dimensions, okay? And we'll learn about our welding callouts too. So or yeah, because I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. So, okay, just a couple last little things I want to talk about real quick before we get too carried away. First of all, May 8th. Everything's due by May 8th, okay? So that would be all the assignments, because after the 8th, that's a Friday, after the 8th, I'm not putting any more work in. So you have to get it done, okay? So once you turn in your work, you'll have that done. And then that gives you May 11th to determine if you want to switch your grades from a letter grade to a pass, fail, or pass incomplete objective. Okay, so please get that taken care of, and we'll see you guys soon.